quickly.
Hey, this is what I'm going to be kind of bringing to the table. I think the things that you should focus on are, first off, be yourself. Secondly, be upbeat. Make sure that you're ready to ask a bunch of good questions and be like engaged and be prepared. Do your research prior and be engaged that person that you're interviewing with. A couple things to like just touch on right away. Good energy, ask the right questions, be dialed into your 4 to 5 year plan, right? Make sure that they believe, hey, this person's going to be with us for a little while. This isn't just kind of a one and done, if you will. Be able to articulate the impact that you
Oh,
can
oh,
have.
real quick, can you center yourself a little bit? I think you're
Yeah,
what?
sure.
There you go.
There we
Okay.
go. Um, and then another thing that's big is like be able to explain why you're excited for the company and excited for the industry that you're going into. Um, those are really just like housekeeping tips, right? We're just kind of scratching the surface with kind of where we're at on this interview module now, but very good things to be, keeping in mind as you start to kind of go through these rounds.
Yeah, all really good points, Sean. I think the key is to like really understand like what's your unique differentiator. Like some people are like very analytical, some people are like really positive energy, right? So you just really understand like what makes you unique. Some people it's like you're a team player, you're very collaborative, right? So you kind of have to do a little bit of soul searching there, like prior to the interview process and really be grounded in who you are, right? So don't try to be like other people because there's going to be other SDRs that might be more energetic or they just might come from like an athletic background. Like don't try to because a lot of managers like they're smart. They can read the room, right? So if you're trying really hard, it's gonna come off like you need them, but the reality is they need you just as much as you need them, right? And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you realize like you're grounded in your truth, your value. So for me, like I'm super passionate about coaching. So when I interviewed at Coach Hub, it was super easy because I just talked about like, hey, I hired like 10 different coaches and this is how I was able to publish all these books and start a YouTube channel and get married and start a podcast and like they could tell like I was just so passionate about the value I got from coaching. So I didn't really have to pretend to be something else. Whereas, for instance, I remember earlier on in my career, I was selling to hedge funds and I knew nothing about hedge funds. And it was like, I was very uncomfortable and they could sense that, and there was a lot of roles I didn't get because it was just out of my comfort zone. So just be grounded in who you are, like know your worth, don't be desperate, and that just looks like just knowing like what you're really good at and the value that you could add to the specific team dynamic. So the things that I would ask during the interview process that a lot of people miss is learn a little bit more about like what their needs are. So if the manager, maybe they have like people that are like really good at like picking up the phone, but maybe they don't have people that are strategic in terms of email sequences. So if you have a marketing background, you can add value there in terms of your copywriting skills, right? There's so many things that you can add value. Just be curious and be yourself.
Um, and I think, a couple things that I think the biggest thing to take away from that, you really do need to just be yourself. Don't try to be someone that you're not, or else like Davidson said, like you're gonna come off disingenuine. Um, a few more things that I want to go through as well. These are similar to kind of like the housekeeping tip idea, things that you can't forget to do. And you'd be shocked. You might hear some of what I'm about to say and think, like, of course, that's very obvious. You'll be shocked at what I hear from SDR managers. Whether it's connecting with them on LinkedIn, sending pre and post emails, showing up on time, being well groomed. A lot of people aren't doing these simple things. And I've even heard, simple stats from some SDR managers that I work with where let's say they get 100 applicants to a role, only like 3 to 5 people will connect with them on LinkedIn. And of the 20 people they interview, only 5 or 6 might send like a pre or a post email. So those are some small things that you can't miss. Where if you're doing the pre and post email, if you're connecting with them on LinkedIn, if you're showing up with good energy and asking the right questions on the interview, if you're doing everything, there's a high likelihood that you're going to get the role. And this stuff is tedious. It's kind of boring. but you have to do it. It's going to give yourself the best chance of what you're trying to do. Um, let's see.
To piggyback on that, like the fundamentals are really important, right? It's like having a solid e
Mm-hmm.
email response, like just highlighting it shows your active listening skills as well, right? So if during the interview process, if you're curious, you ask them like, hey, why is this role open? Like I always ask, one of the first things is like your top performers, what are they doing differently than folks that are middle of the pack, right? And then they'll tell you, oh, Johnny or Amber is like really good at research, like they're thoughtful, they're thinking outside the box, they're being creative, they partner well with marketing, they're very coachable, they take feedback well, right? It's like those are things that you should mention in the email response, right? And then at the end of it, you always want to ask, is there anything you always want to ask for the close as well, right? It's like, hey, sounds like this went really well. What is the next stage in the interview process? And then that'll show that you closed them for the next meeting as well.